All right, everybody, it's the Combatcast with the man they call Dave and Chevy, and we're going to talk about this past weekend's UFC Fight Night, Usman versus Buckley, and also this coming week's Fight Night, Jamahal Hill versus Khalil Rountree. And before that, like and subscribe, please, and tell people we got coming up, Chevy.
All right, June 28th, UFC 317, Topuria versus Oliveira, Vegas, vacant lightweight belt. July 5th, there's no fight, so we'll probably be reviewing that UFC 317. Hopefully that'll be good enough, to round out a show for us. I'm sure it will be. It's lining up to be a pretty nice card. And then July 12th, UFC Fight Night, Lewis versus Teixeira, not Glover. The Black Beast is back. That's 10 p.m. from Nashville.
Okay. Another 10 p.m. fight night card.
Yeah, we love those. Yeah.
I'm a little too old for this. But that's all right. Let's get to this past weekend's fight night. Usman versus Buckley. And I ended up watching the main event. I saw a little bit of the co-main event here. But was there anything else on this card you thought was noteworthy at all?
Yeah, the prelims were actually pretty good. I don't know if you saw Malcolm Wellmaker. Chris Matino came back. He previously fought Sean O'Malley on short notice. He had like lime green hair. Well, he put together like a 5 or 6 fight win streak on the regional circuit. He was welcomed back in against Malcolm Wellmaker, and he got KO'd really bad. Face plant KO'd. Very nice shot from Wellmaker. So that one. And then there was a weird Paul Craig, Adolfo Bellato, ended up being a no contest. But basically what happened was Paul Craig was on his back. Bellato was in his guard, and he went to posture up, and Paul Craig up kicked him while he was on the ground in an illegal shot for sure. But in my opinion, what looked to be pretty clear, Bellato faked being knocked out from that shot. And then he was trying to get a cheap win from a disqualification, but ended up being a no contest. So he got called out by like Anthony Smith and stuff. There's videos of him actually when he's falling backwards. You can see he puts his arms out and looks at the ref like to complain. And then he falls all the way to his back and he goes, quote unquote, unconscious. And then he wakes up all of a sudden and he starts grappling the ref's legs. It was a whole thing. So that guy should get cut for sure. That's embarrassing. So, Cody Garbrandt lost a close decision. Edmund Shabazian got a win. It was a good fight. He looked good on the feet for sure. But let's get into this co-main event. Rose Namajunas versus Miranda Maverick.
Okay, so from what I saw, pretty technical performance by Rose. Outpointed her. Not really much to talk about. I'll let you break it down. I'm just going to suggest a few opponents for the co-main and main here. For Rose, it'd probably be a backward step in the rankings for Rose, but I think just entertaining fights that might make sense. One of them would be Jessica Andrade. I don't think they've ever had a third fight. They've had 2 fights already. And another one, a girl who's had fallen on some hard times, but, is similar in the rankings, has a name, Macy Barber.
Yeah, because we're not going to see that Aaron Blanchfield Macy Barber fight probably. So, yeah.
I don't think so. You know what? Rose is someone who's kind of been on, a path with mental health. She might be sympathetic, and I'm sure they could have an entertaining fight.
Yeah. But, so this fight, Rose definitely looked much better. Much stronger in the grappling than I anticipated. I mean, you think about like her Ultimate Fighter time, she was this great grappler or whatever, but she hasn't showcased that at this weight class yet. So, she did a good job. Miranda's very strong, but she just basically outpointed her. It was a very close fight, and not too much to add to that. It's just a close fight, but let's move on. Main event here. Kamaru Usman versus Joaquin Buckley.
Usman was a much better wrestler. At the end of the day, he's just more well-rounded MMA. He was able to take Buckley down. And it's not like I couldn't have saw a scenario where Buckley could have caught him on the feet or anything like that. It's just that he does not have that level of takedown defense or the ability just to get up when he's facing a quality wrestler like Usman. It's like I could see Buckley beating guys that could beat Usman at this point in his career, but there's a definite hole in that game, and Usman exploited it. In the end, great win for Usman. I'm sure his team is going to want a better matchup than what I'm going to suggest, but I like to see him fight Michael Morales, who's been on a hot streak, and I feel like that would be a great fight for Michael Morales to have.
Yeah, no, I know Usman called out like a title shot. He wants
I know. Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, so I don't think he would accept that. He's 38 years old. He's really going to push for, one or two, one or the title shot. So
yeah,
I don't see him doing that one. But
unless it was the winner was going to get a title shot, then maybe. But
maybe, yeah. I mean,
yeah.
That's a tough ask for Usman,
Yeah,
sure. But yeah, in this fight, he looked great. He went back to the game plan that he used basically when he went on the 12 fight win streak to get to a title or whatever it was. Very grappling heavy. He just wore on Buckley and outpointed him really. Did some damage to him on the ground, stayed active. So glad to see him back in the win column. I'm sure Buckley will be back stronger. I think he's still got a lot to offer. He's still learning. You think about when he first joined the UFC, he wasn't in a real camp. He was training himself and stuff like that. So
yeah,
he still has a lot of growing to do, I think. So
yeah, and he's put together quite a record in the UFC too of credible wins. So yeah, this will just be more growing experience.
Yeah.
But let's get on to this weekend's fight night. Hill versus Rountree Jr. This should be a lot of fun. Chevy, are there other fights that you're looking forward to on this card?
Yeah, there's a couple fun fighters on this one. Ying Young Park, the Iron Turtle. I love watching that guy fight. He's a lot of fun. And Oban Elliott is on the card as well. And on the undercard, Curtis Blaydes versus Rizvan Kuniev. Another tough matchup for Curtis Blaydes. He gets all the toughest matchups for some reason. He's kind of in that, gatekeeper situation where if they think a guy's ready for the top level, they throw him Curtis Blaydes, which is, not really fair to Curtis, but hopefully he gets this win and he can push for some shot at the title. I mean, he's not fighting Tom Aspinall anytime soon again, but we'll see. That division's a mess, as we know. But
yes.
Let's get in co-main event here. Rafael Fiziev versus Ignacio Bahamondes. Fun fight.
Right. Ignacio, 17-5, 11 KOs, 2 subs, 4 decisions. Performance of the night 4 times. He's won 3 in a row and 6 out of his last 7. Rafael Fiziev is 12-4, 8 KOs, 1 sub, 3 decisions. Fight of the night 4 times. Performance of the night 3 times. He's lost 3 in a row, but that would be to Justin Gaethje twice and Gamrot. So, I mean, quality opponents there. The last fight with Gaethje was closer than the first one, and actually he lost by decision. It's supposed to be finished. So there's that strength of schedule versus a guy who's a little more hotter right now. It's a fun fight. I'm going to go with Fiziev, who I think really needs to get back in the win column here. And I think with the pressure on him, he will perform high and he will pull off this victory, but it'll be a decision.
Yeah, like you said, Fiziev's hit a rough stretch, but I think he's been unlucky. He had those 2 losses to Gaethje that were razor thin. He had the loss to Gamrot, which was a knee injury. So, after the knee injury, had to come back to fight Gaethje. That is a tough ask. So, another tough ask here. I'm high on Bahamondes as well. He's super dangerous, but he just hasn't fought anyone at the level of Fiziev. We haven't seen that yet. So that's an unknown factor. So I'm going to go with Fiziev. I think he has enough left in the tank to tough out a win. I think it's going to be a war. Yeah. But I'm with you. I'm going to pick Fiziev by decision.
All right. Main event.
All right. Main event here. Jamahal Hill versus Khalil Rountree Jr.
All right. Rountree Jr. is 13-6-1, 9 KOs, 4 decisions. No subs for this guy. Performance of the night 4 times. Fight Night once. He's coming off his loss to Alex Pereira, but it's probably his greatest performance, win or lose, in the UFC. Like, just toughness. Short notice too, if I remember correctly too. Was that a short notice fight?
I can't remember now.
I can't remember, but he definitely took some punishment early on, hung in there, created some dangerous moments for Pereira. But Pereira, of course, being the great champion at the time that he was able to pull off the victory. But I thought it was a real coming out party for Rountree Jr. Jamahal Hill, 17-3-1, 7 KOs, 5 decisions. No subs for this guy either. He's the former light heavyweight champion. He's the first ever Dana White Contender Series alum to become an undisputed UFC champion. Fight of the night 2 times, performance of the night 2 times. This should be a fun fight at light heavyweight. Like I said, neither guys are known for their submissions. It's probably going to be a stand-up battle. I don't see a lot of takedowns here either. So, in the end, although Jamahal Hill is the former champion, I kind of like Rountree here. I feel like stylistically, Hill is going to play into Rountree's game. I don't think that, Hill should probably maybe try to be a little more versatile in this fight. I don't think he will be. So I like Khalil Rountree. I think this becomes a striking matchup, and I think he'll catch Rountree as time goes on. I'll go round 4 TKO.
Yeah, both guys have had their issues lately. It's really hard to call this one because both can be a bit inconsistent.
Yes.
I'm sure it's going to be a fun one, though, because both guys always put themselves in danger to go for a KO.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely going to be a fun fight. I'm with you. I'm rooting for Khalil. I think it's very close, but I'm rooting for Khalil, so I'm going to pick Khalil. I'll say round 4 TKO.
All right. So, yeah, I think we're both agree this will be a fun fight this weekend. Check it out. Co-main event looks fun. Why don't we tell people we got coming up one more time?
All right, June 28th, UFC 317, Topuria versus Oliveira. That's 10 p.m. from Vegas. And then July 5th, there are no fights, but we'll be reviewing that UFC 317 card. And then July 12th, UFC Fight Night, Lewis versus Teixeira. The Black Beast is back, 10 p.m. from Nashville.
All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. We appreciate you. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you at the fights.